Good evening, everyone. Okay, you're sounding like the seniors when they come to their last senior class meeting. Okay, I laughed at some of you walking in, and you did remind me of the seniors. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you guys should be dancing. This is like your last class meeting. Welcome to our parent guardian, we love our incoming ninth graders meeting for the next school year. I'm Andrea Rusk, and I proudly serve as the principal here at Brainerd High School. And I joked with a few of you walking in, familiar faces, is that just to date myself a little bit, is that I remember when your babies were born. So a quick 14 years went by. We're gonna have a quick meeting for parents, guardians, those of you that are helping to support, raise our incoming high schoolers. And I really do encourage you at the end to ask questions. I move kind of quickly, I'm a fast talker, and we have some other people here tonight. The intent of this evening is to give you information and to plead with you to stay involved with your student for the next 4 years. They're gonna ask you not to. And they're gonna at times really put it on heavy to stay out of their high school life. But we need you to stay engaged because that's the way they're gonna be successful. So please know that we really want you to stay engaged, and whether it's a concern, a criticism, a question, we're ready. And we're really fortunate today to host this. I'm very grateful to our community for the Gichi-ziibi Center for the Arts, because we used to do this on the little round chairs in the cafeteria. So yeah, for some of you that remember those chairs, or you could say yes, much more comfortable. So class of 2029, just to know my audience here, I like to ask, how many of you, this is your oldest student that's going into high school? Raise your hand nice and high. Hold them proud. There's a support group. Look around, and then you guys can all say, we're here for each other. Okay, I know that there's some that it's your baby coming through, and then everything in between. But class of 2029, oh my goodness. Can't believe, years ago we'd be like, what? But Abraham Lincoln is a great quote, and I've kept it on here over the years because I really do believe in it, is that the best way to predict your future is to create it. So your students are maybe out there walking around or trying something new, having some clubs and some elective course information out for our students to look at. They're getting a very similar presentation in their grade 8 classroom, okay? And so know that this information, we don't invite them here because it's a repeat. So in looking at here, Brainerd High School, we have comprehensive academic experiences. We prepare kids for career and college. It doesn't have to be both. Know that, parents. Challenging courses, relevant learning experiences, activities, athletics, and fine arts. I'm from a small town. I moved my kids here when they were in 1st, 5th, and 8th grade, and it's a decision that I have never regretted. I think Brainerd feels like a small town, but it has wonderful opportunities for our kids. And I think that's what we want to share with you tonight, some of that information. So when you take a look here, there's our team, our administrative team, Mr. Merseth and Mr. Cottsmith, our assistant principals. Mr. Freeman, he's on his way down, I think, to the state hockey tournament. And Mr. Fordyce is here as a parent of an 8th grader. He is our assistant activities director, works both here at Brainerd High School and at Forest View Middle School, leading their activities program there. And then Christine Tangen. Christine, can you just wave? If you have a student back, there's Christine in the back. If you have a student with a disability in whatever area it is, Christine is going to be your primary contact here at Brainerd High School. So please greet her after the meeting, and if you have questions, again, concerns, or even criticisms, we'll take it, and we want to make sure that we set your student up for success. So also here is, back there, we have Allie Bullard. Allison Bullard is a new licensed school counselor here this year. And in the other corner, Mr. Balsley. He was greeting all of you as you came in. And we also have Ms. Shelley Streed. Those are our 3 licensed school counselors, and they work in the same office as Christine Tangen. We call it our Student Success Center. And it encompasses also Brandy Hagelin. Brandy Hagelin's going to speak in a few minutes about our Brainerd Online School, but they all office together to help support your students. And our school counselors are arranged, unlike Forest View Middle School, they're arranged by last name of the student. And I feel like it's really beneficial because our school counselors get to know your family. So you've got, a sibling that's coming through and they get to meet you. And I think it's really nice to have that 4-year relationship as they go from 9th grade up to graduation. So here, we're on semesters, and Forest View changed this year. They used to be on trimesters. So we have 18 weeks each semester, and we're a 7-period day. We changed back in 2016-17 from a 6-period to a 7-period day to provide more opportunities for our students. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, some of you that have older kids, we have a little chunk of time in the morning every Tuesday and Thursday called WIN, and it's called What I Need. Now, it's not called what I want, it's called What I Need. So we have academics available for the students where they can meet with their teacher for a period of time, make up a test, go finish a lab, but also maybe they do need, because they're taking care of business in the classroom, maybe they really do need some exercise, or maybe they want to do a fun activity or join a club. So your student next year on Tuesdays and Thursdays will have that time within their day where they might join a club, they may be going to a teacher for a specific class need, or they may be just signing up to go do something fun like go swimming, or maybe they're going to take a yoga class, or they're going to go do some painting in our art room. So we really feel like it's a great addition, blending both remediation, intervention time, but also enrichment time for your student. So this is what a schedule looks like. It's a lot just to look at it, but you can kind of see that's their daily schedule, Monday through Friday. And our courses are about 49 minutes in length. They're a little shorter on Tuesdays and Thursdays, down to 43 minutes. And then we have 6 minutes of passing, okay? Please, no, parents. We'll talk to you again in the fall and welcome you in for our open house, but you can get anywhere in 6 minutes in this building. Okay, I'm old, I can do it, and I tell the students that. So just know if your student struggles with being on time, we have 6 minutes and it's adequate time. So, okay, looking at our high school graduation requirements, for students to graduate in the state of Minnesota, we have requirements, and then we have local requirements that we have in place. And in this overview slide, it's basically our students will take the MCAs in April in math, reading, and in science. And I would ask for your help next year in making sure that you support that. The assessments are a really good indicator of what your student is good at, where their strength is, and also identifies what they need to work on. And if we're going to get them ready for adulting, we want to know that. They're not always very excited to take these assessments, but we think that they're a good data point for us to know how they're going to do. Also, you can take a look at our credit requirements. We have 44 credits required for graduation in those areas there. Math, English, social studies, science, physical education. We have a new requirement for this year's 9th graders. Your students will also follow it, and that's 1 credit in personal finance, and that will be taken in their 10th grade year. And that's a recent requirement, but know that that's not the only exposure they'll have to personal finance. Mr. Knippel, senior economics teacher, does an outstanding job before we send him out the door to go adulting, but he also teaches economics, which is another state requirement. So you can see right here, students have 12 electives that they can take during their high school experience. That's a lot. And we want you to encourage them to try new things. Try new things. They may want to sign up to take a class with their friend. Just remind them, they may not be in class with a friend. We're a big school, so that might be a bummer. They're like, I thought we'd be like together. And so know that, really encourage them to maybe try something they've never tried or an interest that they have. So this might be a fall semester and a spring semester of what your student might have. Math, study center, elective class, world geography, English, science, and another elective. Students must register for 14 classes. So I'm going to talk about intensive classes and AP. AP stands for Advanced Placement. Now, your student may be very, very talented, skilled at reading or math. And we are going to encourage you to encourage them to take an intensive class. On the screen here we have 9th grade English intensive. We do not have a requirement, okay, to have your student take it. And we find out when students are challenged, they're more engaged. If they're bored, things don't always go well. So we are encouraging you to consider and discuss it with your student if it's appropriate. And intensive does not mean more of. It means different than. So they don't, like in reading or in English, if they read 6 books in English 9, it doesn't mean they read 12 books in the intensive class. It means they read different books. And so please note that for our intensive course. We also have geometry intensive, and that's the students have to have taken intermediate algebra right now this year. So if your student is in intermediate algebra, then they'll go into geometry as a 9th grade, and they jump ahead 1 year. And that's an accelerated math class. And then we have AP Human Geography. We have 2 classes in 9th grade where students can take college credit classes in 9th grade, okay? And they do well. So that may be kind of weird, and I came from a small school where we didn't have that, but we have Advanced Placement Human Geography. And the regular geography class for all 9th graders is a semester long. This one is a year long. And it goes at a slower pace. And at the end of the year, students will be prepared to take a course and test. Now, I have 3 kids that graduated from here. They're all 3 different learners. 2 of my 3 kids did take some AP classes. One did better than the other kid. And I would say this, is that I would say that it was a very good experience for my 2 students that I knew were going to a 4-year college, okay? And we're not here to push 4-year colleges and universities on your students. We're here to provide the readiness skills for them to make a decision on where they want to go. And if you look at today's job market and employability and pay for, like, say, wages and salary, the high demand, high paid jobs are in the technical fields. And I say that as a broad statement, but I want you to know that we're not telling kids that they have to go to college. We are telling kids that they need some training. They do need something after high school. But we also offer some great programs here that can get them ready to go right into the career force. So we encourage students who are motivated and interested to consider taking an intensive or AP course. It's recommended to have grade level reading proficiency. So if you look at their MCA scores and are they at grade level, then they might be a good candidate to try. And tomorrow and Thursday, we have one of our best teachers, I think, in the building. She's in social studies. She has taught everything from 9th grade to 12th grade social studies, but also has been a teacher in special education. And she and 2 students from the high school are going to be spending the day at Forest View tomorrow and Thursday, meeting your students and answering questions and giving them information. So I hope they can appreciate that we think that's a good idea for them to hear from students who are here right now. Okay, college credit options. We have 2, like I said. One is an engineering class, and it's called Introduction to Engineering. And then we also have AP Human Geography. And in both courses, at the end of the year, they'll take an exam. We feel like we do a good job. Our teachers do a great job of getting them prepared for the end of course assessment, and they can start accumulating college credits here in 9th grade. So if you have more questions, I can answer them after our meeting, but again, don't let the college credit necessarily scare you. And our teacher here today, do you mind me calling you Janelle? Janelle Menzel is a teacher here. She teaches our Introduction to Engineering and Design course, and she's got an incoming freshman as well, so she's always available to answer questions if you want to learn more. So And we have a 4-point scale, a weighted grade scale for our Project Lead the Way and our AP scores, meaning that instead of a 4-point GPA, we use a 5-point scale. So, 9th grade elective courses. In the catalog, which you can find online under Brainerd High School, under the Student Success Center, if you turn to page 9, you can see all the elective courses for grade 9. It's a really good way to go right to one area and look at them all. Maybe talk with your student, discuss with your student what they may want to take as an elective. But we think exploring career pathways is really important. We want to help support their interests, and also Spanish, American Sign Language, IED is Introduction to Engineering Design, music, they're all year-long options. They sign up for the whole year. Choose 6 elective courses and then 4 alternate choices. Please make sure your student signs up for alternates, because if they don't get into the course they want for different reasons, we want to make sure we find them something they want to be in. Strength and performance, I'm not going to go over this slide in too much detail, but know that if you have a student athlete, they will have access to a strength and conditioning coach during their 4 years here at Brainerd High School. And this is something really exciting. Back in 2024, we welcomed Coach Alex to our school district, and through a partnership with Essentia Health, Alex works here full-time with our students and our teams. And so we had, through the generosity of our community and some movers and shakers in our coaching world, we had an update to our strength and conditioning room. In this winter season, we had, I think they said 400 and some students that were lifting regularly or conditioning regularly. So there's a couple pictures up there. Coach Brodjeski, I say Coach Alex because I can't get that wrong. Coach Alex works, we have 3 strength and conditioning classes, 1, 2, and 3. And students can take that starting in 9th grade if they have an interest in weightlifting. So, elective class reminders. There's some reminders that you need to know if you're helping your student pick out a course. Some have a GPA recommendation, and that's to help your student be successful. Maybe your student is bright, but maybe wasn't motivated during the middle school years or maybe 8th grade, but know that they can work on their GPA and you start clean in 9th grade, and then they could then after their 9th grade year maybe move into engineering or move into ASL or Spanish. And then also the recommendations here are the 3 that I just mentioned, ASL, Spanish, and Introduction to Engineering. Study centers. If you're old like me, we call them study halls, but we call them study centers. And we do recommend that for students that need a structured time in their day to study, take a study center. Most of our 9th graders do take a study center. They're supervised by our teachers and our licensed school counselors. They're small. They're not 30 to 40 students, and we take a look and we ask our teachers to monitor their academic progress, to keep them focused. And they are for no credit, but if you did the calculations for how many credits are required for graduation, you know that there's room in their schedule, especially in 9th grade, for them to have a study center. It's a big jump from 8th grade to 9th grade academically. I've heard that ever since I came to Brainerd. And so we want to make sure that they have that built-in time to support their academics, because as we like to say at the high school, credits count. They all count towards graduation. Brainerd Online School, I'm going to introduce Brandy Hagelin. She's going to just give a quick overview of our Brainerd Online School.
Hi everyone, I am Brandy Hagelin. And actually our outfits were completely unintentional. And I just noticed that when you were standing up here, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So like I said, I am Brandy Hagelin. I'm the coordinator for Brainerd Online School. And before we even get started, how many of you think, oh my gosh, my student has absolutely no reason to be in an online class in their 9th grade year? No, like a few, and that's okay, because I know this can be a very scary proposition. How many of you as adults have did online learning for a class, for your job? Yeah, it's something that we're going to be seeing more and more of. And as a high school, by offering online, we want to prepare students for what they are going to encounter outside of high school. So I know this is a lot of information up here, so we'll just go over some of the kind of the basics of what you can expect for an online class. And what we have right now, like looking at this semester, we have about 600 students taking an online class, and that's grades 9 through 12. That's usually, most of them take 1 or 2 classes. We have maybe like 12 that are taking full-time online classes. So we have enough options for them if you're thinking, you know what, maybe this is what my student needs for 9th grade. But most kind of dip their toes in a class that they're interested in, and they try out that one class before they decide, is this right for me, or is this like, maybe I do better in person? Because we know every student is different, and we never want to say, hey, you 100% should be trying this, or no, you shouldn't try this at all. It is what is best for each student. So what we have set up at this point, going in the spring of 25, is we are completely asynchronous in our courses. So that means students can log in anytime they want. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but they're not gonna have a Google Meet at a certain time. We are looking at maybe changing this for certain courses for next year. Haven't completely made that decision, but if we do move to some classes for a synchronous model, that might mean that students maybe twice a week would have a Google Meet with their teacher. And how that looks could be different. It could be content-based. It could be, hey, let's have a check-in. How are you doing? Are you understanding how to do this? So it's another layer of support for a lot of students. Looking at number 3, attendance. Attendance looks a little bit different for online. What we say is students are expected to log in and engage with the content at least 3 times per week. We have some students who log in on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they want to get their work done. Like, they will chunk it where they work for like 2 hours a day on that course. So then they don't log in for the rest of the time, but they have the work done for the week. That is the big thing. It is not just logging in, saying, oh, I'm in the class, I'm set to go, and then logging out. Is there a work completion factor to that? And that is the expectation that students will do that when they log in. We use an online learning management system called D2L Brightspace. Is anyone familiar with that? Yeah, it's used by a lot of the like the Min-State colleges and universities. And so this is, we think this is just fantastic for students that are then going into one of those colleges where they are familiar with D2L and they know how it works. And I have a student who, well, my own daughter is, she's a freshman in college and she goes to St. Cloud State and they use D2L. She also took online classes through Brainerd Online School. So that was like a seamless transition for her. That's actually going to be the same with my son, who's a senior right now, and he took classes through Brainerd Online School. And it has been the fact that they know how to navigate D2L Brightspace and just really any learning management system has made that transition much, much smoother for them. For communication, we know that with online, communication is so, so essential. And this means that, yes, you're gonna have to make sure that your students are checking their email. Our teachers will email, they will also send phone calls, they will sometimes do a messenger service or a messenger app. We make sure that communication lines are open between families and then students and teachers, because families are such an integral part to online learning and making sure that your students are staying on top of things. It's even with like D2L Brightspace, every parent has a parent account where then you can log in and see, oh, you had an assignment that was due. This is why your grade is with this. Or hey, look it, you're doing fantastically. You got 94% in the class. And so it's just an added layer of knowing what your student is doing. And really, if that teacher has tried to reach out, they will contact you as well, because it is that important to not get behind in an online class. And then finally, collaboration. I think there is a kind of a misunderstanding that if you're online, this means you can't do anything with partners or you can't have any type of group work. That is not what we want for Brainerd Online School. And so when you look at a lot of the assessments, when you look at projects, there is a component of collaboration, so you're not missing out on that like you would have with the in-person classes. Another, like, a lot of information again. And I'm free to answer questions if you want to email me, if you want to call me with any of these. But we have the very first one: how will an online class compare to the in-person class? By nature, online has to look a little bit different in the ways that you design things. That being said, in-person has standards and benchmarks that we follow, and that's going to be the same with online. It just may look slightly different, where you could have an assessment online where if you were an in-person class, that could be a paper and a pencil assessment. So things look different, but they do follow that course progression, what we see from in-person to online. So if you're taking like an English 9 class, that first, well, actually all throughout the weeks, you are going to be following along with what we see with in-person. How does my student get started with their class? Every student who takes an online class needs parent-guardian permission in order to do this. They can sign up, and you can see this with registration, but what we then do is contact every family and say, here is what happens with online. Here is what to expect. Do you want your student to be able to do this? And so it's not like parents, guardians are completely cut out of the decision. We want you to be part of this, because that is when your students are going to have success. For the third one, what if the online class is not right for my student? This is, in my opinion, probably one of the nicest things. We have a 3-week built-in, it's almost like a safety net, where from the start of the semester, if your student has taken an online course and 2 weeks in they are like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this is not for me, they can transfer to an in-person class with no questions asked. And so that has been something that actually not a ton of our students have taken advantage of. Most have found that they can make it work. But for a select few that are just, they know that wasn't the right modality for them, we put them in person, and then that's where they can experience that success. And then when and where do students work on their online classes? Each student, if you have an online class, you're going to have an online open hour that corresponds. And so in the high school, we have 3 areas that are set up. We have the main commons, we have the activities commons, and then we also have the media center area, where they're supervised areas, where if your student has like that 3rd period, that's their online open hour, the expectation is that they are working on the class during that period. And like, if you've taken the tour of the building or you know it, you know there are plenty of places for them to sit down and be able to work on their class. Or all of our teachers are also like in the building here, and if that teacher also has an online hour at that time, they can go get help in person if that's what they need, which our teachers are absolutely phenomenal about that. And then finally, can my student get help from their teacher in person? I already answered this. Yeah, I think that's something unique to Brainerd Online School, is that our teachers are not across the state. Our teachers are within the building, and they all have time built within their schedule for online. And you'll also see that many of these teachers, if they see their online students struggling, they will call them in for a win, which is the what I need that Ms. Russ talked about. And so there are so many layers of support for our online students that we want to make sure that they're experiencing success with their online classes. One thing that if your student really is thinking, yes, this is something I definitely want to try, I recommend you go through these bullet points with them. You need a level of self-motivation. You need a certain level of self-advocacy in order to have that success. We have a safety nets built in to this process, but at the same time, we also want to develop those skills in students where they know how to reach out to their students, or to their teachers and ask questions. We want them to be able to say, okay, I have this much time, I need 3 hours to work on this class or get this done. How am I going to schedule this? How am I going to do it? This is essential for students to learn this before they graduate from school, and at an online class is a great place to do it. All right, our course catalog, like she had said, it is online. We are offering I think we have more than 35 courses that we're offering for next year. We offer all the core courses, and then we have just added in a ton of electives that I'm so excited about. We have online American Sign Language to CAD, to child development, to equine science. The choices are phenomenal. So take a look in the course catalog, and you'll know the Brainerd Online School. I'm not sure what pages it's on, but they have the outline around the page. And so I think that's the only section that has the outline around the page. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I always take phone calls, emails, any question you have, I am happy to answer. I'm going to give it back to Ms. Rusk.
Some of our students in 9th grade, they're like, I want to do online, and they think it's like distance learning, you know, the trauma that some of us had years ago, but it's not. The courses that we develop here in online are not a canned curriculum. Nothing against canned curriculums, they serve a purpose, but what I'm saying is that they align with our courses here. So the teacher that is teaching in person English 9 is also doing that same curriculum and that same instruction in a online format for your students. So I have encouraged parents that if you're not completely sure that your student is ready, tell them, let's see how 9th grade goes. 9th grade's a big step, and if you do a good job, I will absolutely support you to try a class in 10th grade. So just kind of that, let's see how you can transition into high school. This slide is of all of our course offerings. And I alluded to it before that I'm really proud of the fact that our staff have continued to expand course offerings. I come from an old school dad that will say, well, they don't even have shop anymore. And I'm like, Dad, here's the page. And I talk to him about all the wonderful classes that we have in our applied technology and how many wonderful classes we have in FACS, Family and Consumer Science. And we have some really unique classes like aviation, lifeguarding. Your student can get their lifeguard certification in school as an elective. There's a job waiting. The reason why we did that is the YMCA came to us and said, can we partner? We have an extreme need for lifeguards. Aviation, Director Donlinger from our school board came to me probably 10 years ago and said, do you know that they need we need airline mechanics and pilots, the shortage that we have? And so we started an aviation course here, 2 of them now, that lead kids to get their private pilot's license. And I'm really proud to say that we have, I think 11 students that are right now either flying as a profession or in school, getting their pilot's license. And then a new one this semester, which is really great for our trades, is this semester we're offering our first CDL, Commercial Driver's License course. So we have 15 students, 13 boys and 2 girls taking the CDL class and helping them get their foot in the door to jump into a potential career right out of high school. So just know that, take a few minutes and just look at this list. We've put all of them together so you can kind of peruse them, and then you can go find out more information in the course guidebook. So this is something I'm excited about, and it's because we have some great staff that is on the committee. It's called Warrior Pathways. And Warrior Pathways is really helping your student explore career pathways. Again, I started talking at you by saying that we're not gonna push four-year colleges and universities. People say they shouldn't push that. You know who pushes it? And no offense to this wonderful audience, but parents do. Sometimes parents say, well, my kid's so smart. Yes, your kid is very smart. And if they want to go into the trades right now or into a technical field, that's where the high demand, high pay jobs are. But Warrior Pathways is what we do once a month, grades 9 through 12. Students, I have, my homeroom is seniors, so I've been with them for 4 years. And we have a committee of teachers and counselors here and staff that put together lessons to expose your student students to career pathways they've never thought of. And some of you maybe come from traditional work homes, and then you take a look here. These are right now the pathways that we have. And next year, your student is going to be asked to declare a pathway. Do they have to take all the classes in that? No. We're just trying to get them to think about their future and to think about what might I want to go into. And then what are the classes that I should take at Brainerd High School to get me ready. So as you can see here, we have agriculture, food, natural resources, arts, communications, info systems, business, administration, management, and marketing. We have engineering, manufacturing, and technology. And then another big area of employment in this area, in this region, is healthcare. We've got 3 big hospitals in our area and a lot of clinics. And so we have a wonderful partnership through Essentia Health. Some of our students this semester are going out to an externship. So they're going to be at Essentia Health for 12 weeks, getting paid for a 2-hour block to go out there and be exposed to all the careers that Essentia Healthcare provides. They want our students to, 1, be smart and be good people, but they also want them to stay here, and so they can employ our kids. So the pathways, you can read more information too if you look in the course catalog, but know that your student is going to be exposed to this learning. We hope that they'll engage and think about maybe, what am I going to do after high school? So the registration timeline, if you look up here for your student, if your student is at Forest View Middle School, in March 18th, we're going to ask the completed registration forms to be turned into their geography teacher or to their advisor or case manager. On March 19th and 20th, they'll register. St. Francis of the Lakes Catholic School, if you have a student there, Mr. Balsley is going to be going there on Thursday, March 6th, to provide them with this information, to help them know a little bit more about Brainerd High School, to have a smooth transition. And then Starry Academy and Lake Region Christian School, their main office staff are helping to support this too. So we want to be very inclusive and help all of our 8th graders transitioning to Brainerd High School for 9th grade. So at the end of March, we will have the students finish registration. Our high school kids right now are registering this week, and then they have next week. They register on their own independently, so if you have a high schooler, ask them if they've done their registration. And then after spring break, we're going to get them back together and do just some checking on have they been placed in the right classes. And then your student won't find out what they'll have for classes until summer, late summer, okay? We spend a lot of time doing the balancing and making sure they have the prerequisite skills or they're placed in the appropriate courses. But I'm inviting you back to join us again for a little shorter meeting in August when we have open house. Again, if this is your oldest, they're gonna say, no, we don't have to go to that. Yeah, we want to expose the students. Also, this summer, we have a program called Jumpstart. Jumpstart is just an orientation for the kids. You don't have to come, you can drop them off. But we do, that's an optional program that we do in early August. We've done it for the last couple of years and it's really been a huge success, due in part to the staff at Brainerd High School who come in and we do like a mini schedule. We give them another tour so they get comfortable. We talk about lunch because that's the #1 stressor for kids coming into high school is lunch. Yeah, you know, where do I go get my lunch? Where do I go sit for lunch? Who's in my lunch? So we do a lot of talking about that to alleviate that anxiety that they may have. So 9th grade registration forms, I'm gonna run through this quickly because this is small print. These are the forms that your student will be filling out. So you have little ovals there. Look up these courses, make sure they have all their ovals in the correct spot filled in. We have English, and intermediate algebra and biology and world geography for most of 9th graders. Now some may choose to take that accelerated course or the AP course, and then they list their electives. So an example here is if you decide to take the AP course, as you can see at the top, and then they're gonna delay their health, wellness, and fitness because they're taking study center, yearbook, and varsity choir. So there's lots of combinations of what your student can take. I'm not going to run through all the scenarios, but I'm just showing you what this might look like on the form. This is an example of a 1-year-long elective with 2 semester electives and a study center. We have varsity choir, which is year-long, introduction to business finance, introduction to visual arts, and then you can see the 4 alternates right here listed at the bottom. Make sure they fill that out. Make sure they fill the alternates out. Otherwise, we place them and then they're mad because they didn't fill it out and we placed them in a course. You can see here the halftime combo. We have a wonderful music department here at Brainerd High School, and we allow students to have more than one music. So you can take, choir and be in choir 5 days a week, or you can be in a combo where you're going to have maybe choir and band, or choir and orchestra, or band and orchestra. Know that that is an option, and that's how you would fill it out there. So Aristotle has a great saying. I've got this one up there for a lot of years, but excellence is never an accident. I tell that to kids when they do outstanding work. It's not an accident. It is always a result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. I talk a lot about that with high school students about, make good choices. That was your choice. What might be the consequence of that? We have really great kids at Brainerd High School, and I'm excited to get to meet your students next fall. Know that we have an amazing staff. If you talk, we're fortunate to have beautiful facilities, lots of great courses, but in the end, it's our staff that really provide what we call as high quality instruction from people who care. And they like to hang around high schoolers. Yeah, every day. And so if you have any questions, we're here to answer questions. Both Mr. Balsley and Ms. Bullard are here, and anything. And I'll stay after too. We do have 45 minutes if you want to walk around, if you want to go jump into a tour. We have our clubs and activities. I would say this, 9th grade is a year of not only exploring courses, but encourage your student to maybe join a club. We've got exceptional service clubs. We've got great athletics, good music. We've got, though, a lot of activities, and some of the kids out here tonight are volunteering for a couple hours to be at the tables to answer your questions about what are the activities my student can join. From art club to anime club. I didn't even know what anime club was when our art teacher came and asked if we could have an anime club. And so that's a very popular club here, and we have a super mileage club that competes. So just encourage your student to stay busy, stay involved, stay engaged, and we look forward to having your student here next fall or in August. And again, if you have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. We want to keep the communication open with you all. And thanks for being here tonight. Have a great night. Drive safe.